evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. So this is a video about the schema maneuver, which is a component of the execution. So in your OSMEAC, you have O, orientation, and then first paragraph situation, second mission, third execution, fourth administration and logistics, and 5 command and signal. So within the execution, you have your commander's intent. It's just for OCS. And then in your concept of operations, you have your schema maneuver and fire support plan. Fire support plan is going to be none. But we're going to break down that schema maneuver because it's probably one of the most complex parts of the operation order, and it's like the backbone of everything that you're doing. So I am not an expert. I've done a lot of reading, I've asked a lot of people, but there's this thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and I'm gonna probably butcher explaining it, but sometimes people feel overconfident because they're not aware of what they don't know. So then the next step is now you're aware of stuff that you don't know, and then you might not have a lot of confidence. And then once you identify what you don't know and then you learn that, then you can be an expert. So this video isn't to get you to expert, it's to dash your confidence and get you to be aware of things that you might not know, and then you will have that knowledge to then ask your instructors relevant questions. Because OCS, I was kind of lost in the sauce about this, so you should at least give a little foundation. So anyway, so this right here, it's not a terrain model, but it's just broken down kind of academically, the portions of what you would have for your offensive maneuver. So at OCS, you're going to be offensive. And so there is a checklist here. Also, I don't want to be on camera. I say a lot of dumb stuff on Reddit, and I just don't want people in my face. So there's 6 portions of the offensive schema maneuver, and we'll break it down, and then we'll break down what this is. So it's distribution of forces, form of maneuver, direction of attack, tactical control measures, formation of movement, consolidation, and then those are just the 2 consolidations. So before we get into that, we're going to go over what this means, and we're going to start with the formation of movement. So this is a squad leader, and if you type in operational terms and graphics USMC student handout, you'll learn what all these symbols mean, and then hundreds other, but I like to just learn them as they become relevant. So anyway, this is squad leader here. And then a squad, this is the squad. And I have it broken down into 3 fire teams. So it's usually gonna be a main effort, and then supporting effort 1 and 2, and then these are individual Marines. So what do these mean? So let's put supporting effort 1 on the spot. So this fire team, this is called the ready, and this Marine is responsible for the vision, anything that comes up, This right here is the team leader. The fire team leader is responsible for their fire team. And then fire, that means the automatic weapon, and then along that is the assist. So at OCS, you're not gonna have automatic weapons, but it's still good to know what this is. And in the reading, it said that the assist carries ammo for the automatic, but once you get at OCS, you're not gonna have that. So fire team, this is in a column. So you have kind of an offset line, but just so this is directly behind this, this, and this. So we're gonna break it down because your instructors will beat this like a dead horse that you need dispersion. So these look close together. I just don't have enough room to make them as far apart as they should be. Just think, if a mortar comes in or artillery, you don't want to take out a whole fire team. But just know that this is behind here. So according to the readings, the pros of this is that it's easy to move. So it's for speed. The downside is you only have 2 people facing forward. And another upside is like you still have like power to the side. So that is a fire team column. Ooh. Okay, let's pick out a different fire team for no reason whatsoever. Okay, so a fire team wedge, you're gonna have your ready here, your team lead there, you're gonna have your automatic back here, and then your assist here. Now, the wedge, the upside is they consider to have more firepower, because look, now you have 3 Marines here. And if you had enemy contact, you'd only have to move 1 person to make sure that everyone's in a line. So yeah, so that is a wedge. So we'll put them back in column just right now. Okay, so now that you know those 2 basic formations for fire team, oh, the last one is like online, sorry. And I couldn't really find something in the reading about the exact order, so that would be a great question to ask your instructors, like, hey, when we go fire team online, what's the best order? But that should be pre-planned. It shouldn't just be people running around. So yes, that's fire team online. So, sorry about that. So guess what? So we did fire team formations. Now there's squad formations. So check this out. Okay, so this here is a squad column and then fire team column. You would say squad column, fire team column. Now you could even do, so let's get our wedge back here. I know this might be taking a while, me organizing these magnets. There's this other channel, I'll link it in the description. It's a lieutenant from like 3 years ago, so he's probably like a captain now. He does a great job of explaining this, better than me, but he doesn't have the magnets, so, but this is more visual, and then his is definitely a more like higher quality video. Okay, now that we got all that set up, okay, so now this is a squad column, fire team wedge. And we can make it even more complex. Let's take this off entirely. You can have a squad wedge it's a work of art. Okay, so now you have a squad wedge, fire team wedge. Now, in the readings, I saw that they actually switched these 2, and the reasoning is that the 2 fire team leaders are closer to the squad leader. Once again, great question to ask your instructor, like, is it set in stone? All that stuff. So yeah, so now you have a squad wedge, fire team wedge. So theoretically, you can do a, you know, like squad wedge, fire team column, but I don't really know of like the tactical like advantage of that is. That's also another question for your instructor. But you know, if you're moving in a wedge, you're probably wanting to get more firepower, so then it would make sense to also have the fire teams in a wedge. So yeah, so those are the movements. Oh yeah, once again, squad online, you know, fire team online. So that would be squad online, fire team online, and then you can even have, you know, squad online, fire team wedge. So just know that like there's squads and there's fire team formations. So that would look like, oh, I'm gonna switch that one. Right, So then that would be a squad online fire team wedge. Okay, so now that we have the formation of movements, I'm just going to set this up. We're going to go through tactical control measures. Wish there was a button I could push and everything just goes back all at once. Oh, that's not where you belong. I know it looks shady with like the hood and everything. I just don't like, I don't want to be on camera. My neighbor actually left this jacket at my house. I asked him if he wanted it back, and he said no, because apparently it's the Luigi jacket, but just in a different color. So I don't wear it outside the house, but it is very comfy. Okay, so now that we covered formation of movement, we're going to explain the tactical control measures. So tactical control measures are just areas designated in your AO that have like some sort of significance. So assembly area, you know, you're all assembled. And then, you know, when you get to like the attack position, so remember how I said that like column is faster? So if you're moving to like the attack position, you know, squad column, fire team column is probably like a decent mode of, you know, getting there. And then the attack position, you see how I have covered? It's covered because in combat, like, you're never truly like safe or covered. And then line of departure is kind of like the demarcation mark between covered and like uncovered. And no, it's not like a line in the sand, it's not built out. You have to like use your judgment. So let's say this is like a thick forest and this is a clearing. That would probably be your line of departure, and you should probably get into more like combat effective formation. Definitely a question for your instructors. So the tactical control measures, the reason why I have these two looped together is because I don't like rote memorization. I like to like understand. So instead of like memorizing all those, if you like link them together, so tactical control measures, it has to do with formation movement, you know? So for instance, you could be, okay, we will be departing the assembly area in a squad column fire team. Upon arrival to the attack position, we will transition into a I'm only gonna do one, so I just don't take up like a lot of time. Right here. Okay, so upon arrival to the attack position, we're gonna transition into a squad column fire team wedge. Actually, no. I'm gonna put in the effort to actually put all these in their spots. I know this is probably awkward watching it, but I'm not gonna cheat myself. Okay, so then you say, upon arrival to the attack position, we're going to transition into a squad column, fire team wedge, and then as we approach the line of departure, we will transition into a squad online. Let's do fire team wedge. Now you could do a wedge, but we're just going to do this. Squad online, and then I'm going to say my favorite phrase. You can ask your instructor what's the best thing to do. Okay, so yeah, upon arrival to the line of departure, as we cross into the assault position, you know, we'll continue in squad online, fire team wedge, and then here's the fun part. So some missions are like on signal, like, you know, if a certain event or on signal, like if someone tells you to do something event based, like in the event that something happens. So usually you're not gonna, at OSMEAC, you're not gonna fire until, you know, you meet enemy contact. So yeah, now you're in the uncovered, it's like the danger. So you're gonna continue in the wedge, and then you might say, as we approach the objective and upon enemy contact, we will immediately transition into a squad online, fire team online. Now, question for your instructor, in the readings, I couldn't find out if there was like a certain order, but just know that there has to be an order. So if you're a fire team leader, you would say, okay, upon enemy contact, it's gonna be, you know, Anderson, Cooper, Davis, and I don't know, Butthead, whatever it means. So then, you know, at OSS, you've reached the objective, you're on your squad online. Then I'll explain like the consolidation. So like consolidation is, you know, there's this thing called like a hasty 180. And yes, you're gonna tell your Marines like, okay, so upon enemy suppression, we're gonna do hasty 180 and everyone has their sectors. And then when there's, quote, no chance of enemy counterattack, we will transition into a consolidated 360. And that means that you are defending, now you own the objective, you know? So that's there. Okay, so I know we kind of worked backwards, so let me get all of these, but just the other two, so the distribution of forces, I've been doing this the whole time, is, you know, we will split our squad into one main effort and two supporting efforts. So that's just like easy, and that's a good way to start off this scheme maneuver. It's just immediately explaining that our squad will be broken down into one main effort and two supporting efforts. Now, you might have heard that schema maneuver is supposed to be anonymous, and what that means is you can designate that there's a main effort and then supporting effort 1 and 2, but you're not going to say if main effort is like squad 1, 2, or 3, because let's say I'm in first fire team and I'm tired, I'm cold, you know, I don't want to stand around a train model and listen to this, but I know that squad 1's the main effort. I might pay attention, like the scheme maneuver, to the main effort, but I might just like peace out and not listen to that. So the reason why I say it's anonymous is because they want everyone paying attention. And then in tasks, that's where they'll designate, you know, like first fire team, you're the main effort, second fire team, you're supporting effort 1, fire team 3, you're supporting effort 2. But just so, you know, distribution of forces broken down into a main effort, 2 supporting efforts. So now, so form of maneuver and direction of attack, I have those linked. So there's a lot of different form of maneuvers. There's frontal, there's flanking, you know. So at OCS, you're only going to be conducting a frontal attack. Flanking is, you know, one element is here, and then, you know, one might be over there, and obviously you'd have to adjust tactical control measures. Yeah. The reason I have these two linked is because it's easy to string those two in a sentence. So I have this north, you know, north is as depicted. So you could say, we will be conducting a frontal attack to the north. That's easy. So instead of like memorizing every single like one of these, just be like, it's like a story. First squad, we will be broken down into a main effort and 2 supporting efforts. We will be conducting a frontal attack to the north. And then you'll go through what I did. Upon leaving the assembly area, we will travel in squad column, fire team column. Upon arrival to the attack position, we'll transition into fire team, squad column, fire team wedge. While crossing the line of departure, we'll transition into squad online, fire team wedge, and then upon enemy contact, we'll immediately transition into squad online, fire team online. So yeah, that would be like how you would brief. And then how you would, there's this thing called like walk the dog. So when you do your brief, in the orientation, you want to get down into the terrain model and like point and brief. And when I build a terrain model and do that, it'll make more sense. But schema maneuver is another part where you walk and jump. You should be kneeling down at your terrain model and like getting into the works. And it really helps if you have it memorized, but memorize is in quotes because you're not memorizing, you're just telling a story. And since we, you know, broke these down and linked them, it should be fairly simple. So if I was going to brief a schema maneuver, you know, I would say, okay, execution, commander's intent. Clear the AO of all enemy forces, because that would be the end of the mission statement. Concept of operations, scheme of maneuver. First squad, we will be broken down into a main effort and 2 supporting efforts. We will be conducting a flanking attack to the north. Upon departing the assembly area, we will travel in main effort, squad leader, first supporting effort, second supporting effort. That's called order and group. Upon arrival to the attack position, now at OCS, you won't have these little pieces, so don't worry about like moving all these Marines there, but you want to say, okay, upon arrival to the attack position, we are going to be transitioning into squad column fire team wedge. But yeah, you don't have to do the individual Marines, but I would have like little laminated papers. And upon arrival to the line of departure, you'll transition into squad line, fire team wedge, you'll approach the objective in squad line, fire team wedge. Upon enemy contact, we'll immediately transition into a squad online. After destroying the enemy, we will go into a hasty 180 main effort. You will have north supporting effort 1, you will have east, and supporting effort 2, you will have west. Upon no chance of enemy counterattack, we will consolidate into a 360. Main effort, you will have the 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock position. Supporting effort 1, you will have 2 to 5. And then, oh wait, the math isn't mathing. Okay. Main effort, you will have 10 to 2. Supporting effort 1, you will have 2 to 6. And then supporting effort 2, you will have 6 to 10. And then, yeah, so that's your schema maneuver. I know I did that like twice, but yeah, it doesn't have to be that difficult. But definitely during the schema maneuver, you want to be getting down in your terrain model and explaining, and then, you know, your fire team leaders. So you might say, okay, main effort, you have this 1 and 2, but your individual fire team, when they give their brief, they're going to be like, okay, Anderson, you're here, Cooper, you're here, Davis, you're here, and then I'm butthead and I'll be here. So yeah, that's up to the fire team leader. But anyway, that's schema maneuver, and in the terrain model, I'll show you a better version. But yeah, I hope this helped, and I hope it at least let you identify questions that you would ask your instructor, because I am not an expert. Alright, and that's all, folks.